Breaking right now on Fox 13 News, tragedy in southern Utah after a Utah Tech University student falls to their death. What we're learning from campus leaders tonight.
Because I don't have the inventory, I have to give less to the families who need the help. And it hurts. I want to give them more.
Hundreds of kids still in need of a toy for Christmas, but right now, the shelves are looking pretty empty. I'll show you how nonprofit workers are asking for your help.
We got another winter storm on the way. Will it bring rain or snow? And if snow, how much? I'll let you know.
And the stage is set in Southern California, who the Utes will face in the upcoming Rose Bowl. Thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Brian Schnee. We begin Fox 13 News live at 5 with some breaking news out of St. George, where a Utah Tech University student has died after falling from a balcony on campus overnight. Here's what we know right now. Campus police say around 2:30 this morning, they got a call about a student that fell off the 5th floor balcony of his dorm suite at Campus View Suites 2. Police tried to save the student's life, but that student was pronounced dead at the scene. The student has been identified as 18-year-old Peyton Hall from South Jordan. He was in his freshman year at Utah Tech.
It is being investigated as an accident, a tragic accident. So far, we've simply processed the crime scene. We've interviewed witnesses. It was witnessed by several people. And we're going to await the determination from the medical examiner and the toxicology report.
Counselors were on hand on campus today to provide therapy for students in distress after what took place. Counselors will also be around tomorrow as well to help students out with whatever they need. We're continuing to track this story, and any new developments surrounding it will keep you posted as we learn more. Right now, holiday nonprofit organizations are asking for help in supplying Christmas presents to families in need. Fox 13 News reporter Sarah Murphy met with two groups who say this is the lowest number of donations and volunteers they've ever seen.
They're on Thanksgiving for 5 hours filling packs.
A busy holiday season.
So there was no sit at home, make dinner, and enjoy the goodness of dinner.
With lots of personal sacrifice that becomes a gift to others.
It's been a really hard year for our family. And so these programs really do matter. And for these parents that are working so hard, it does give us a break to let us know that our kids can still enjoy Christmas.
But it's an impact that's becoming a bit trickier to deliver this year.
This year's a lot slower. I would say that we're kind of behind on the amount of gifts compared to previous years.
This is girls 3 to 5, and that area is hurting for toys.
Holiday nonprofit organizations like Cache Valley Toys for Tots and Santa's Secret Gift Shop,
One of the main ways that people can donate, they can go onto our Amazon wish list,
are reporting a decrease in donations and volunteers.
As you can see, we still need a lot of help.
It makes me sad. Some nights it keeps me up at night that I want to help more, but I can't because my hands are tied.
To put things into perspective, Melanie says that at this time last year, each kid was able to get around 4 stocking stuffers. But this year, that number's been cut in half. And now they'll each only receive 2.
People, who were able to help last year are now finding themselves in need this year. So I just think with inflation, grocery prices, rent increases, gas prices, I just think it's been a difficult year all around for a lot of people.
I can barely fill the orders that are coming in because of how bad I'm hurting on toys.
Volunteers say they're wanting to help others like they've been helped themselves.
I was in this predicament, and I was hurting to give my kids a Christmas when I divorced my husband. So this touches my heart.
Sarah Murphy, Fox 13 News, Utah.
Sarah, thank you. Both Toys for Tots and Santa's Secret Gift Shop say you can continue to donate throughout the month. Turning to weather now, more snow knocking on the doorstep. Here's a live look in eastern Nevada and Elko County along I-80. This is between Elko and Wells. Relatively dry. We've seen some flurries. We've seen some bursts of snow on this very camera. So is this an indicator of what is headed our way? Utah's Weather Authority meteorologist Breck Bolton here with us now. Breck, what are we looking at tonight? And then, of course, into that morning commute.
Well, this storm really on our doorstep right now as we take a look at satellite and radar. Active weather pushing through portions of northern central Nevada right now. We mentioned between Elko and Wells. You're seeing a scatter there with the colors green and blue. So it's a mixture of rain and snow. Where this cold front moving through, it's not as cold as we saw or as robust as the one that hit late Thursday night through Friday morning, but it will be definitely making its mark as we're beginning to see some of those showers creeping in here throughout Box Elder County. We see some changes a little bit later on as this front will be moving through again in the overnight hours. But outside right now, we've got some clouds. We're not seeing the shower threat. I want to show you something, though. Let's take a look at high temperatures today, where in Salt Lake City, it was 38 degrees. But in Provo, 52. That's a 14-degree difference. The reason being is we had an inversion and some haze in place, at least throughout the Salt Lake Valley, throughout the central and northern end of the Wasatch Front. Thus, temperatures definitely a little bit more of an issue there. But we're going to mix out the air with this approaching storm. How much snow are we expecting? Are we expecting any snow for the valleys? Plus, how will it impact your morning commute? We'll talk about it coming up in just a bit.
Brack, thank you. We'll see you in just a few. New tonight at 5. It's been 2 years, but sleigh and wagon rides are back at the Hardware Wildlife Management Area in Blacksmith Fork Canyon, which is just east of Hiram. Around 450 Rocky Mountain elk are around to provide rides to Utah families. It's been around since the 1940s, but it was put on pause for the past 2 years due to the pandemic and the drought. Those that help organize the rides say they're happy to help provide a fun and educational experience of this rich tradition.
We're going to help you discover Utah's wildlife, and you're not even going to know it's happening because you're having so much fun.
Quite the promise. I like what we see. The sleigh ride runs Friday through Sunday, 10 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. during the winter elk viewing season. Tickets for sleigh rides are sold on site only on a first-come, first-served basis. You can't make a reservation in advance. Tickets are $10 for ages 9 and older. Kids between 4 and 8, you only pay $4, and kids 3 and under get in free of charge. Native American Heritage Month may be over, but Fox 13 News continues to highlight important parts of Native culture. Today was the second day of the American Indian Winter Arts Market at the University of Utah. More than 40 vendors showcased their jewelry, artwork, and crafts inside the Student Union Ballroom on campus. The market was presented by the Utah Division of Indian Affairs. Straight ahead, it's the last few days of the Georgia runoff election. That would decide who controls Congress. Hear from both candidates in the final hours before polls close.
The lava spewing from the world's largest active volcano is inching closer toward the Big Island's main highway. I'm Max Gordon on the scene here in Hawaii. All of the details coming up.
Welcome back. In your national news tonight, all eyes are on Georgia this evening as the Senate runoff election between Democratic Senator Raphael Warnock and Republican challenger Herschel Walker draws to a close, and both candidates are making their final pitch to voters. Democrats have already secured control of the chamber, while Republicans are looking to even the score. Gloria Pazmino has the latest.
A busy campaign weekend for Georgia Senate candidates looking to secure a win in Tuesday's runoff election. Democratic Senator Raphael Warnock is facing off against Republican challenger Herschel Walker. Both are putting up a fight.
Our problem we have right now, we decided to get the wrong leaders in Washington. We got to get people in Washington that's going to stand up.
He was an amazing running back. And he will need those skills because come Tuesday, we're going to send him running back to Texas. We're going to send him running back to where he received his homestead tax exemption.
Democrats secured control of the Senate, winning 50 seats during midterm elections last month. Senate Republicans are hoping to gain a seat in order to keep a 50-50 split.
We're preparing for, it being a very tight race. I anticipate we may not know on Tuesday night. It really depends because it's up to the voters, and they're showing up in droves.
According to the Secretary of State, more than 1.8 million Georgians have cast their ballots ahead of Tuesday. A CNN poll shows Warnock holds a narrow lead over Walker.
Gloria Pazmino, Fox 13 News, Utah.
This weekend, President Joe Biden signed new legislation forcing railroad workers into a labor agreement to avoid a possible strike. A rail shutdown would likely have devastated the economy, disrupted commuter rail services, factory productions, and put hundreds of thousands of people out of work heading into the holiday season. But it wasn't without complications. There was a push by progressives to add a provision related to paid sick leave, which the Senate failed to pass. President Biden vowed to keep pushing for paid sick leave.
Look, I know this bill doesn't have paid sick leave that these rail workers and frankly every worker in America deserves. But that fight isn't over. I didn't commit we were going to stop just because we couldn't get it in this bill, that we were going to stop fighting for it.
Meanwhile, some good news for the U.S. economy. According to the Labor Department, 263,000 jobs were added in November, and the unemployment rate remained at 3.7%. Authorities in Idaho are attempting to be more transparent about the murder investigation involving 4 college students. The Moscow Police Department posted a message on Facebook revealing they have received thousands of tips. Detectives have collected more than 2,600 emails and 2,700 phone calls related to the crime. The investigation has also netted 113 pieces of physical evidence. Forensic teams took 4,000 crime scene photographs and have done multiple 3D scans of the residence. Experts say police released all this information to clear the air of any rumors.
Unfortunately, it has quite a bit of a negative impact because what the investigators are trying to do is keep their head down and look at the case, look at the facts, and they're getting distracted by people saying, we want to play along at home. And so they're having to refute allegations that are made in public. They're basically getting distracted.
Police admit they have still not identified a suspect in the murder of the 4 University of Idaho students that were killed last month. Rivers of lava are creeping towards a major highway in Hawaii. Fox's Max Gordon has more from Mauna Loa, where a volcano has been erupting for about a week now.
The lava flowing from Mauna Loa in Hawaii is crawling 40 feet per hour and is now about 2.3 miles away from the island's main highway. It's been a week since Mauna Loa first began erupting. Officials say the lava will move sporadically from here on out, and it's unclear when or if the lava will cross the highway. So far, no evacuation orders have been issued, and there's been no threat to homes or communities.
Seeing where it's at now, I just feel relieved that we're not going to be jeopardizing anybody's homes.
Volcanic gases continue to blow out into the air, generating VOG, or volcanic smog. According to the USGS, Mauna Loa is currently emitting around 180,000 tons of sulfur dioxide per day. Despite the potentially dangerous gases, the eruption is drawing in tourists and locals alike, with many flocking to see the glow of the lava. People on the island say getting a first-hand look has been nothing short of remarkable.
It's tremendous. We went and watched the eruption last night, and just seeing that the red glow and that it's such a unique experience.
2 volcanoes are currently erupting on the island of Hawaii. This is the first time since 1984 that both Kilauea and Mauna Loa have erupted at the same time.
Mother Nature is in control, and that is part of life on this island is to live with these lava landscapes, and that's why Hawaiian culture is so very important to understanding. It's really the lens with which to view these places.
Park rangers at Hawaii Volcanoes National Park say the volcanoes here on the Big Island are interconnected, and eruptions at one can have impacts on another. On the Big Island of Hawaii, Max Gordon, Fox 13 News, Utah.
Well, just remarkable visuals coming out of Hawaii. Remarkable and active on the island. We should be pretty active in parts of northern Utah tonight.
Oh, we will once again. Another storm.
Luckily, not with anything like that.
Not like that. We're focused here on winter and the snow. Of course, last week, a couple of storms really piling up the snow up in the mountains, and we're going to get hit with hopefully another foot of snow, at least for some of the mountain locations, as the storm will have the biggest impact as we look from northern Utah through central Utah and looking over the next couple of days, because this cold front will be marching through, but it'll be slow to move through the state. So that means we'll kind of keep the prime pumping and that snow building in some areas across the state. Here are your current temperatures, though, where Salt Lake City, we're at 35 degrees, Ogden similar. Warmer in Provo. Boy, we had a stronghold with an inversion. Here's what happened is we had that morning cold air. Warmer air came in, but it kind of piled on top of the colder air, which set up a very strong inversion as we look through the Salt Lake Valley northward. So temperatures suppressed today, where we only got up in the upper 30s in Salt Lake City, but in Provo earlier on, you were in the low 50s. Okay, maybe tonight you want to go see some holiday lights heading downtown. You've got some clouds in place here across the Wasatch Front. I mentioned that storm approaching will keep it fairly warm, and the winds shouldn't be too bad. It might get a little breezy, but towards the tail end there, if you're making your plans, you want to do it earlier, because we will start to see the impact of that next storm system as we look to bring a mixture of rain and snow here initially along the Wasatch Front. Yeah, with this storm, it's not a very cold system, at least initially. It's going to take some time for that cold air, which is lagging behind, to sweep through the state. By the middle of the week, we'll see that transition in temperatures. But with this storm, winter weather advisories will be in place, where most of the snow accumulation will be for the mountains of northern and central Utah. But those colder temperatures will come into play, and we have some additional storms to talk about. But let's first get you with this one again as it pushes through the overnight hours, where winter weather advisory will be in place for tonight through tomorrow evening as well, where this is what we're expecting on the accumulation side here. Again, as we look for extreme northern Utah, not bad. Once you look from the Cottonwood Canyon southward, even Sundance, where piling up there, is we're going to see this front move through the Wasatch Front, stall near the point of the mountain, and then it's slowed to move on, which means we'll keep the snow going, like in areas Sundance and even further southward. So again, some of the mountains across central Utah will really benefit from the storm. Where is the storm right now? Again, it's beginning to get close, right on our doorstep, not pushing here across northern Utah. We are seeing a few light showers near the Utah-Idaho border, but in its position now just east of Elko, we even saw a few lightning strikes. Yeah, this definitely has the instability that we could see kind of a burst of some showers, not like we saw Thursday night through early Friday morning. Not expecting to see any snow squalls. And again, we're going to see a mixture of some rain and snow as it makes its move through. So once we get to 9 to 10 o'clock, we start to see those changes. It pushes through in the overnight hours. You see by 3 a.m. enveloping, as you see, Ogden all the way down through Provo. And as I said, this front somewhat stalls out near Point of the Mountain, slow to push through Utah County as we head into tomorrow afternoon. So we'll keep the showers going here. But again, accumulations mainly across the mountains, as we'll see, as these temperatures fairly warm above freezing. So it might be a mixture of rain and snow, but really not sticking here, at least until that colder air moves in. Central Utah, you'll see accumulating snow as we go from Monday night into Tuesday. See how slow this front goes as we'll go into Tuesday morning, when finally by Tuesday afternoon it starts pushing through extreme southern Utah. So this storm is not rushing through like the one we saw late Thursday through Friday. We don't see the winds, but for the mountains it will pile up. We can see some slushy roads for sure for your morning commute. You'll have to be careful. And near the benches, we might see some slushy roads as well. Hopefully the valleys will be okay, but extreme northern Utah, you definitely can see some snow here in the overnight hours. Tomorrow, temperatures, again, above freezing. We're in the low 40s in Salt Lake City, upper 40s ahead of that front, though, through central Utah, and mid 50s in St. George, where you get the rain not until Wednesday. Then it pushes away, but you've got some colder temperatures towards the end of the week. So mixture of rain and snow tomorrow. Tuesday, Wednesday, some clouds, cooler, and then a chance of some snow showers, kind of scattered, not a big storm, but Friday late, Saturday, Sunday as well.
Tiny worms could help detect initial signs of pancreatic cancer. I'm Anita Vogel with a special look at what researchers are calling the first early screening test for the disease. That's coming up next.
Hot cocoa is a cold weather staple, but climate change could be spelling trouble for this sweet treat. I'm Ashley Strohmeyer. The details coming right up.
An emotional family reunion more than 5 decades in the making. I'm Matt Finn with how a family found their missing relative after 51 years.
Thanks for joining us tonight. The early detection of cancer can help save lives. And now, researchers in Japan say they've created the first ever early detection kit for pancreatic cancer. Fox's Anita Vogel shows us the unique process.
Tiny worms could help detect initial signs of pancreatic cancer. That's according to Japanese researchers who say they've developed the world's first early screening test for the disease.
What's very important with early detection of cancer and these kinds of diseases is being able to sense very trace amounts.
And that's exactly what these worms do. Measuring in at 1 millimeter in length, about the thickness of a credit card, the worms are a species of nematodes, round worms with exceptional smelling capabilities, better than humans and dogs. Users send urine samples to a lab where scientists genetically modified the worms to swim away from cancer samples.
There are various types of cancer tests using different methods around the world, but none have a method using capabilities of living organisms. So I want to raise the understanding of that around the world.
If the results show a high risk for cancer, patients can undergo additional testing to avoid false positives. In the U.S., pancreatic cancer is the 4th leading cause of cancer death in men and women. The worm test cost a little more than $500. Researchers hope to have it available in the U.S. sometime next year. They're also aiming to develop tests for liver, cervical, and breast cancers in the future. Anita Vogel, Fox 13 News, Utah.
Well, many people love the taste and smell of chocolate, whether it's in candy or baked goods or even in hot chocolate. But it's not a secret that it does some big business. Some say chocolate could be climate changing's latest victim. Fox's Ashley Strohmeyer explains.
Chocolate is one of the main ingredients in a cup of hot cocoa. But now your favorite wintry treat is at risk of getting more expensive.
When it should have rained, it didn't.
Farms in the West African country of Ivory Coast produce almost half of the world's cocoa, the raw ingredient used to make chocolate bars. But farmers here are blaming climate change for plaguing them with inconsistent rainfall. It's causing local growers to worry about their cocoa crops and their ability to meet the global demand.
The rain hasn't been abundant, and that has hit production. So if you expected to harvest 500 kilogram, you'll only be getting 200 kilogram. Our producers are really worried about their harvests.
The lack of rain is also affecting the growth cycle of some cocoa trees, making them prone to disease.
There are also certain plant diseases emerging that weren't around before, and this can also have a big impact.
Cocoa farming employs more than 500,000 people in Ivory Coast. Activists say climate change is one threat they can't ignore.
In order to deal with this scourge, which is ravaging the world, global warming, everyone must play their part. We need trees, and everyone should see it as a duty.
To prevent delays in production, farmers have been expanding their fields to grow more crops, but they fear their efforts may not be successful if the lack of rain continues into next year. Ashley Strohmeyer, Fox 13 News, Utah.
Now to a remarkable story that you have to see to believe. 51 years ago, a baby girl went missing from her Texas home, but her family never stopped searching for her. But now, thanks to a DNA test, the family is complete again. Fox's Matt Finn shares with us their emotional reunion.
The Highsmith family had a lot to be thankful for this Thanksgiving after reuniting with their daughter, who disappeared more than 5 decades ago.
We always knew that we had a daughter out there.
The family never stopped searching for Melissa Highsmith, who was abducted as a baby from her mom's Fort Worth, Texas apartment August 23, 1971. Around the time of the kidnapping, Melissa's mom, Alta, placed an ad in the paper looking for a babysitter. She ultimately hired a woman to care for her 21-month-old Melissa, who was never seen again. The family believes that woman abducted and raised Melissa.
I really have no doubt in my mind that it was her. I didn't feel no love growing up. I didn't have that bond with my mother.
As part of their efforts to find Melissa, some of her biological siblings took a 23andMe DNA test. The results matched to Melissa's children.
My daughters called me crying and they said, "She's alive, Daddy, she's alive, she's alive."
The Highsmiths reached out to Melissa's daughter, who connected the long-lost relatives. The emotional reunion happened over the weekend.
It was just a mixture of joy and being terrified and excited.
It turns out Melissa, who was raised as Melanie, grew up just 10 minutes from her biological family. But after this long-awaited reunion, she plans to legally change her name back to Melissa Highsmith. Matt Finn, Fox 13 News, Utah.
Coming up in sports with Fox 13 Sports Director Jeff Raniere. He'll tell you where Utah, BYU, and Utah State will go bowling. Not that sport, but what bowl they're going to play in. And could the Utah basketball team back up that big upset win over Arizona with a road win at Wazoo? The highlights are on the way.
Amazing.
Well, after Georgia, Michigan, TCU, and Ohio State were picked for the college football playoffs, the rest of the bowl games are filled out. Utah's headed back to the Rose Bowl after a huge win over USC in the Pac-12 championship. 8th-ranked Utes will play number 11 Penn State on January 2nd at the Rose Bowl. The Utes and Nittany Lions had never played before, so this will be their first meeting. Utah football program is in a great spot right now, getting back-to-back Rose Bowl appearances.
Well, I think it's another step in the right direction in the evolution of our program, and we're a program that is still hopefully on the rise and trying to make our mark in college football. We had the breakthrough last year with our first Pac-12 championship, and preaching to the team all year long this year, this offseason, and all through fall camp, how it's harder to stay on top than it is to get to the top. And the challenge was trying to repeat. Through some unique circumstances, we were able to do that and take another step forward. And we've just got to keep evolving and keep progressing and stay on this trajectory.
BYU's also going bowling. The Cougars will play in the New Mexico Bowl on December 17th against SMU. Many old people like me remember it's a rematch of the 1980 Holiday Bowl, known as the Miracle Bowl, after Jim McMahon threw a Hail Mary, the final play of the game that was caught by Clay Brown in the end zone, giving BYU a 46-45 win. Utah State will play Memphis in the ServPro First Responder Bowl game on December 27th in Dallas, Texas. The Aggies playing in their 10th bowl game in their last 12 years. College basketball, Utah played at Washington State after their big win over number 4 Arizona. Utes led by 8 at the half, but this three by Raleigh Worcester tied it at 42. The Cougars, though, built another lead. TJ Bamba right to the rim. That put Washington State up by 6. Back came the Utes. They kick it outside to Worcester. Knocks down another 3. He led Utah with 19 points. Then it's Worcester again. Utah down 3, 10 seconds to play, gets it to Marco Anthony. Bucket and the foul. He made the three-point play. That tied the game and forced overtime. In OT, Worcester backing it in down low. The defender, little flop action. Worcester scores and won a big three-point play to put the Utes up by 3. Then it's Gabe Madsen with an open 3. Spots up and it's good. The Utes were up by 6. Wazoo trailed by 2 in the final seconds of OT. They have the ball with a chance to tie. First shot up, no good. Second one up, no good. The Utes held on to win it 67-65 in overtime on the road to improve to 7-2 overall, 2-0 in the Pac-12. Well, more of the Utah football team going back to the Rose Bowl, to that great Pac-12 championship game coming up on the sports page, plus the Jazz, Utah and Utah State basketball, and Week 13 of the NFL.
Now, would you have preferred it to be a rematch with Ohio State, or are you excited about the first ever meeting between the powerhouse Penn State and obviously Utah?
I would have loved to see Utah, Ohio State once again.
You feel the same way?
Yeah, but I'm glad to be back at the Rose Bowl.
And Penn State's a good team. They're
a good
11th
team.
in the college football playoff ranking, so it should be a great matchup.
All right. Thank you, Jeff. Thanks for joining us tonight at 5. We're back at 9 o'clock. And, of course, the sports page after that. We'll see you back here tonight.